Hi guys, welcome to the second part of this tutorial on how to create dynamic content using PHP and MySQL. In the first part, we coded the HTML and CSS that we needed to create the front end of our simple shop. So in this video, we are going to make everything dynamic by coding the back end. So with no more delay, let's start. We are going to start exactly from where we left off, and that was when we finished the CSS code. So the next thing that I'll do is to create in the project's root folder a config.php file to define the MySQL database login details. I will define the server to localhost, the MySQL username, the password. If you don't have set a password, just leave it to an empty string, and the database. That's all the code that we need in the config.php file. Next, I'm going to create a folder named PHP, and inside that folder I will create a file named functions.php. And as you guessed, we are going to write all the functions that we'll need in this file. So the first thing that I will do is require the config.php file so that I can access the database login details. Next, I'm going to write a function to connect to the database. I'm going to name the function dbconnect. Now, inside the function, I will create a new MySQLi object, and I will pass in the constants from the config file. Next, I'm going to check the value that the connect error number property holds. If it is not 0, I will return false. Else, the function will return the MySQLi object. Next, I'm going to write a function that will fetch every unique category name from the products table. I'm going to name the function getCategories. Inside the getCategories function, I will call the dbconnect function, and I will store the returned MySQLi object in the MySQLi variable. Next, I will write a query, and I will select all distinct category names from the products table. This will return us every unique category name from the category column. Next, I'm going to use a while loop to fetch every table row as an associative array and store them in the categories array. And last, the function will return the categories array. Okay, let's go now to the index file and use the getCategories function to display the categories. I will remove the hard-coded links. I will open PHP tags, and I will create a variable named categories, and I will set it equal to the getCategories function. Next, I will open PHP tags again, and I will use a for each loop to fetch the category names from the categories array. Inside the loop, I will escape PHP so I can insert an A tag to display the categories. So inside the links body and inside PHP tags, I will use the UCFirst function to capitalize the first letter of the category name. I'm using the UCFirst function because all category names in the database are in lowercase. Next, I will set the href attribute. I will send the link to the category.php page. The category.php file doesn't exist yet. We are going to create the page as soon as we finish the index.php page that we are currently on. You will see how easy it is to create the remaining pages as soon as we complete the home page. Now, back to the href attribute. We are going to include a query string in the URL, and we are going to send to the category.php page the category's name. And of course, the value will be URL encoded. Let's make the A tag a little easier to read. Nice. But in order of the PHP code to work, we have to require the functions.php file. Okay, let's see in the browser if our code works. And it works. We see every unique category name displayed in the categories side navigation. Nice. Now let's go and fetch the products that we are displaying in the home page. Let's jump to the functions.php file and write a function to fetch the home page's products. And remember that we are displaying a set of 4 random products. I will name the function getHomePageProducts. As an argument, I will pass in a variable named int. The int variable will hold the number of products that will fetch from the products table. Next, and inside the function, I will call the dbConnect function to connect to the database. Next, I will write a query that will fetch everything from the products table in a random order. The order by rand command will shuffle the rows of the table, and by using the limit keyword, we fetch the rows that the int variable specifies. And we store the returned result set in the result variable. Next, as we did in the previous function, we fetched every row from the result set as an associative array and store it in an array named data. And last, we return the data array. Okay, now that we wrote our function, let's go to the index.php file and display the random products that we fetch. Let's scroll to the right section and open PHP tags under the section title and call the getHomePageProducts function. As an argument, I will pass in the number 4. The number 4 specifies how many random products we want to display. Also, we have to store the returned products in a variable which I will name products. Next, I will go inside the div element with a class of product and I will open PHP tags again. Next, I will loop through the products array and I will access every product with a product variable. Inside the loop, I will escape PHP so I can insert HTML code. And I will insert the hard-coded product. Next, I'm going to change the text and values with the values from the database. I will start with the image, and I will replace the hard-coded value of the source attribute with a value from the image column. Next, I will change the title with a product's title from the database. Next, I will set the URL in the href attribute. The link will send us to the product.php page, which doesn't exist yet. And we are going to add a query string that holds the product's title. Let's make it easier to read. Nice. Next, I will replace the dummy text in the description with the description from the database. And last, I will do the same thing with the price. And let's see in the browser the changes that we made. I have to reload the page. And here we have our 4 random products. We see the images, the product's title, the description, and the price. Don't be confused with the description. I have the same dummy text in the database for every product. Okay, now let's click on the home link. Nice, we see on each click different products. That is exactly what we want for our homepage. Now let's go back to the editor and create the category.php page. I will create a copy from the index.php file and I will name it category.php. Now, at the top of the category.php file and after the require statement, I will check if there is a get request that holds the category key. If this is true, I will use a variable named cat, which stands for category, and I will set it equal to the URL decoded query string. The get request is coming from the category links that we have in the index file. And because we have URL encoded the category name, we use the URL decode function to decode it. Next, I will scroll to the left section, which is our sidebar that displays the category names. And I will leave everything as it is. We don't need to do any changes on the categories section. Now, in the right section, where we display our products, we are going to change the getHomePageProducts function with a function named getProductsByCategory. And I will set as an argument the cat variable, which holds the incoming category name. And that's it. Those are the only changes that I need to do in the category.php file. Now let's go to the functions.php file and write the getProductsByCategory function. I will say function getProductsByCategory, and as a parameter I will use a variable named category. Again, I will set the connection with the database, but this time I will use a prepared statement to make the query secure. This is because I don't have any control of the query string that comes with a get request. anyone can change the category name with harmful code to achieve an SQL injection. So it is mandatory to use MySQL prepared statements. I will not go through and explain the code. I have a video on how prepared statements work. I leave the link in the description below. Okay, we are done with the function. Now let's see in the browser if it works. Let's click on the books category. Nice. We see all the books from the database. Let's click on the games, and here we have all the games that are stored in the database. Nice. Now, if I click on a product's title, we see that the requested product page doesn't exist. So let's go and create the product.php page. Now, before we create the product.php page, let's fix some stuff that I have spotted. Let's go to the category.php file and change the section title from homepage to whatever category we are displaying. I'm gonna say products in the ... category. Now I will replace the dots with PHP code. I will say echo. I'm gonna use the UCFirst function to capitalize the first letter, and I will pass in as an argument the cat variable, which holds the category name that comes with the GET request. Another thing that I forgot to do is to URL encode the product's title, which we will send to the product.php page. Okay, we have the same link in the index file, so let's go there and URL encode this one too. Nice. Now we can create the product.php page. I'm going to duplicate the category.php file and name it product.php. Okay, we have the product.php page, which is exactly the same as the category.php page. So let's make some changes. In the GET request, I'm going to check for a key named title. Also, I will change the cat variable to title. Next, I will call a function named getProductByTitle. I will pass in as an argument the title variable that comes with a GET request. And I will store the returned product in the product variable. The getProductByTitle function doesn't exist yet. So let's go to the functions.php file and write the function. I'm gonna say function getProductByTitle, and as an argument I will pass in a variable named title. Once again I will connect to the database, and I will use again a prepared statement to fetch the product by its title. The function returns an array, but it holds only the product that we fetch. Now we can go and continue our work in the product.php file. Now before we continue, I have to show you the database table again because I added two more columns, a meta description and a meta keywords column. In the meta description column, we have a short description for each product, and in the meta keywords column, keywords that are related to the products. Okay, let's go back to our product.php file. Okay, now that we have a meta description and a meta keywords column in our database, let's add the product's description in the meta description tag. I will remove the hard-coded text, I will open PHP tags, and I will use the product variable, which we know it is an array and holds the product that we fetch from the database. So I will target the first index of the array, which is 0, and then the meta description value. Okay, let's do the same thing with the keywords. Next, I will move to the title tag, and I will display the product's title. Okay, next I'm going to scroll to the right section where we're displaying our products, and in the section title I will say product details. I will remove the PHP code that fetches the products by category. And also I will remove the for each loop. I don't see the point to loop through an array that holds just one item. Let's fix the indentation. Nice. Now I have to go into each product variable and target the first entry. Let's do first the image. Now in the title we don't need to display a link, it will only reload the page. So let's remove the anchor tag. Now we'll target the title, the description, and the price, in which I will add a euro currency. Nice. Okay, let's test our code in the browser. Let's click on a product's title. Nice, we see only the product that we clicked on. Let's click on another one. Nice again. But we have an issue with the footer because we don't have enough content on the page. So let's place the footer at the bottom like we did in the About and the Contact page. I will go to the about.php file and I will copy the style tag. And I will paste it in the product.php file. Nice. Let's check it out. Let's click on the home page and on a product. Nice. And that's it. This is how we can create dynamic content and pages with PHP and MySQL. But we are not done yet. I want to show you how to highlight the visited navigation link by writing a few lines of JavaScript code. So, in the navigation menu we have three links: the home page, the about page, and the contact page. So let's see how to highlight the visited page link. So let's go first to the index.php file and add in the body tag an ID of index. Next I will go to the about.php file and add an ID of about. And in the contact.php file I will add an ID of contact. I will explain why. If we see our navigation, every link has a data active attribute. The home link has a value of index, the about us link has a value of about, and the contact us link has a value of contact. So I will use JavaScript to fetch the loaded page's body ID value and highlight the link that has the same data active value. I hope it makes sense. So let's go to the script.js file to write the code. First of all, I will target all navigation links and store them in a variable named navlinks. Next, I will target the body ID of the page that we clicked and store it in a variable named bodyID. Next, I will use a for-off loop to go through every link. Inside the loop, I will check if the link's data active attribute is equal to the body ID. If so, I will add to the link the CSS active class that we wrote in the first part of this tutorial where we coded the HTML and CSS. Let me show you again the CSS code. Here it is. Now let's check our code in the browser. Let's click on the home page. Nice, we see that the link is highlighted. So is the about link and the contact link. And that's all, guys. Hope you liked the video. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you like. See you in the next one.